at what people were saying about Kobe White last year? They were like talking about him being traded or not being able to even be cracking the rotation on this team. Like, he wasn't sixth man of the year. He wasn't like a sixth man. He wasn't even like the eighth man. He was a guy that you didn't know if he was a one or if he was a two, how he was going to get used. Like you said, his production was 9 points, but it was a really rocky 9 points. Sometimes he would be completely on a milk carton, and it wasn't like the Chicago Bulls were so good that they were so deep that that's why he couldn't crack the rotation. He's just come out of nowhere.
They're so well constructed as an organization. You got guys where everybody knows what their role is. You've got somebody like Aaron Gordon that can go out there and defend pretty much any position. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, one of the better 3-and-D guys in the NBA. You know what Jamal Murray can bring except for getting you over on the points, even though he had 12 in the first half last night. Came up short, no big deal. I'm going to forget about that and move on. But, the intimidation factor, that's the mental side, and there are no trends, there's no numbers, there's no stats. They're going to give you any of that where you just watch it and you look. It's like when Tiger Woods was in his prime. Guys on the PGA Tour would always talk about Tiger Woods in red on a Sunday. In his prime, everybody you was intimidating. It was there. The Kansas City Chiefs, because they've built that resume. They have that history. In any given moment, they can come back in a game. Tom Brady, 2 minutes to go in a game. Oh, you don't want Tom Brady having the ball in his hands. The Patriots were in that spot. The Denver Nuggets have now become that team where in important situations, you're always going to get the best from everybody. And I think that's what's so important. It's the best and the consistency in the moments that matter the most. You know what Patrick Mahomes is going to do late in games. You knew what Tom Brady was going to do. Peak Tiger Woods in his prime, you knew what he was going to do. And you know what you're going to get from the Nuggets. You're not going to get maybe 15 points and 8 rebounds from Nikola Jokic because he just didn't really show up that night. That's Jason Tatum. That's not Nikola Jokic, and that's not the Denver Nuggets. What are you hearing, and what is going to end up being the result in terms of the quarterback situation for the Falcons?
The Falcons have been pretty quiet. This is a new regime. They will. A lot of people will have a hand in the decision, but ultimately it'll be Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson who lead the charge. They're both new in town. Raheem's on his second tour, but they've played it pretty close to the vest beyond saying they will beat every bush. And I think they're going to have to because, they can't. They're not in a position of strength. They have told the world, not that the world needed telling. They've told the world that they need a quarterback. They pick 8th behind 3 teams, maybe 4 teams that are taking quarterbacks. So you can't necessarily count on the draft. So do you throw big money at Kirk Cousins? That makes sense to me. But you have no idea if you can get him out of Minnesota. You can get Justin Fields for next to nothing, but I'm not sure they want him. Russell Wilson, so far he's talked to the Giants and the Steelers. We haven't heard the Falcons yet. Kirk Cousins is a great fit in this offense. We've seen that because he played for Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, and it's going to be basically the same system. Justin Fields and Russ, not great fits in this offense, but the Falcons may just have to make something work.
How likely, Josh, are the Falcons to trade up to number 1? Because I know that sounds crazy, but SI wrote today that the Falcons were the most likely team to trade for the number 1 pick.
I don't think anybody's getting the number 1 pick. I mean, I think the Falcons would do it probably if they could. I think lots of teams would do it if they could. There's a lot of smoke around Caleb Williams and off the field stuff. And do you worry that do you worry about him? Can he lead a locker room? You will hear some people say that. Nobody worries about the way the guy plays. He's going to be the number 1 pick. And I don't think the Bears are giving that up. I don't think the Bears have sort of sat in this purgatory for a year, sitting on this number 1 pick, and are going to give up Caleb Williams. 3 first-round picks, 4 first-round picks. Yeah, I don't think the Falcons are giving up 4 first-round picks. I don't think the Bears are doing it for 3. I would be shocked if the Bears come off of 1. If they come off of 1, the Falcons would be involved in that.
But, okay, so let's say that this doesn't work out. Obviously, it's all hypothetical at this point. Do the Steelers look for any other options at quarterback, or does that mean they're going to run it back again with Kenny Pickett?
Well, I do think that they're still probably going to look at a guy like Ryan Tannehill because of the obvious Arthur Smith connections there. But the next quarterback I think is going to be interesting. If you don't get Russell Wilson, a lot of people talk about trading for Justin Fields. From what I've heard, the Steelers are going to wait out Chicago. They feel like if you get someone to give you a day 1 or a day 2 pick, congratulations. But they're going to wait until see if they can get that asking price to drop down to at least a 4th round pick, maybe a 4th and a 5th round pick, at best. But like the Steelers, they know that Justin Fields has 1 year left on his deal before he has to hit that 5th year extension. So basically, if you trade for Justin Fields, you got to slap on that 5th year extension. So I don't think they're too wild about that. I think what they're going to do is they're going to have Kenny Pickett. He's the only quarterback on the roster, so they still got to get at least 2 more guys. So if they don't get Russell Wilson, I can see them sign Ryan Tannehill, seeing if they can bring back Mason Rudolph, and if they still want another quarterback, I could see them also drafting a guy in the 4th, 5th, or 7th round of this draft just to have another camp arm in there. But I think Russell Wilson's the one guy that could come in and immediately supplant Kenny Pickett without much of a debate. Ryan Tannehill, because of where he's at, I think that they might see that as more of an open competition as anything else, as well as Mason Rudolph. But the Steelers, they right now, they believe that their system is going to beat teams by running the football, playing great defense, and having a game manager type quarterback just not lose them the game. Which, again, when they did that last year, that's when they were really a really good team. They were able to even bang with teams like the Ravens. So I think that's where the Steelers are trying to get to. So I don't think they're going to make a big splash other than Russell Wilson because he's not that expensive. So I expect kind of middling moves if they don't get Russell.
We're going to see it. I really like O'Malley, guys. I think that O'Malley, even in the first fight, before O'Malley kind of got hurt and wasn't himself, and eventually Cheeto took him out, O'Malley was going to win that fight. So you're probably going to have to pay something like minus 300 if you bet it on fight night, but I'm willing to do it.
Wow. Would you also try to change the odds and do how would the fight end? Like maybe just take it by decision, which is minus 150 instead of minus 300?
Yeah, that's the most fun bet to make in all of sports is try to bet a UFC fight and pin the tail on the donkey, right? Is it going to finish in the 2nd round? Is the guy going to get choked out? Is he going to get knocked out? If you made me pick how I think O'Malley's going to finish the fight, I'll say he knocks him out. I mean, Sean O'Malley, for a guy that doesn't look like it, right? He's tall, skinny, has the clown hair, the tattoos. He's not really the scariest guy if you saw him in the street, but that dude will put you to sleep. He's got a bunch of knockouts on his record, and that's certainly what he's going to be shooting for tomorrow night. So if you make me bet, I think it's going to be O'Malley by knockout. Let's say in the 3rd round, right? It's a 5-round fight because it's a championship fight, so they're all 5 rounds. I think it's going to take a little bit of a feeling out process for both guys, and then O'Malley catches him with a straight right in the 3rd.